to Rusted Junk, the 80s Movies podcast. Do you find yourself wanting to put on a corked hat, fight crocodiles in the outback and then move to New York? How about befriending an alien by dressing him up as a ghost on Halloween? If so, this is the podcast for you. If you remember searching for that perfect film from Blockbuster, and if you grew up in the UK, waiting for that one VHS copy to be returned to the newsagents, then welcome. We'll have fond memories waiting for you. I'm Charlie, and the rest of the Rusted Junk team are Amanda.
Hello.
Joe.
Howdy, you all.
And Dom.
Hello.
And the film we'll be looking at this week is the 1989 film The Abyss, starring Ed Harris, Michael Biehn, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Chris Elliott, others. But yeah, so this is my choice. Yay! I know I get the extra one, so whichever one you don't like on this, just say that's the extra one that we shouldn't have had. But so far, I think they've all gone down pretty well.
What were your choices?
Do listen to Weekend at Bernie's as well, by the way. Wall Street and Fatal Attraction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Wall Street's gone mega on YouTube. Don't know why. No idea. People type in Wall Street they're on YouTube. Wall Street tips, and then dip in and listen to us.
Wittering on.
Hardly the same. But mind you, they're probably like Joe's stories or Dom's bants. Your lack of
College.
Yeah.
If people are googling us for financial tips, I've got some cryptocurrency at 85% losses that they could take off my hands for a small premium. So go for it.
We've all got some of that, haven't we?
Yeah, mine are 53% losses, but yeah, it'll get better. XRP, yay! Anyway, right, back to the film. So, The Abyss. Well, for those people that don't know, The Abyss is a science fiction film made by James Cameron in 1981. It was released in August 1989. It's a story about a nuclear submarine that gets unexpectedly incapacitated by something that's down in the ocean, and the Navy enlist Ed Harris and the drilling platform to go and investigate what happened in the submarine, sending down some Marines to be with them down there, and then other things happen, which we'll talk about in the podcast. And yeah, so who to start with? Well, I'm going to go around this way. So Dom, what did you think of it? No scores yet, but what did you think of it?
I've been told that some of my jokes at Weekend on Bernie's were in poor taste, so I must apologise to our listeners before I begin. I don't want to get cancelled. Unfortunately, there's no risk this week of any controversial references to recent tragic events when we review this week's film, which is checks notes, The Abyss. Oh dear. So anyway, any references to submarines, catastrophic implosions, just Amanda, tug your ear. Charlie, let me know.
Right, okay.
I was excited about reviewing this film. Look forward to it, and remember it as being a good movie. And the first few minutes, the opening bits, my notes, I'm dropping F-bombs all over the place. The Nietzsche quote that it starts off with, impactful, brilliant. Who doesn't love a good Nietzsche quote? The pings from the sonar, the massive submarine coming into view. Yeah, proper movie, Charlie. Good choice.
All right, okay. Wow, that's a good start. Oh, and who am I going to go to next to bring it down? Joe, come on, spoil the party, man.
It's funny when you announced this about 2 weeks ago. What's that?
He's preempting a response.
I'm not. I'm just, Jack does it to him on his podcast. So, just a little bit.
Don't repeat bad behaviour.
Tell Jack that, Joe.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't looking forward to watching this just because of the length, because we were going to watch the director's cut, which is almost 3 hours or close to it.
Yeah.
And I just was so reluctant. I was like, I'm going to watch it tonight. And I just kept putting it off. And I watched it last night. I said, I have to watch it now. And actually, I started watching it last week and I was like, oh, this is going to be so rough. And I just stopped it after like 15 minutes. And I'll watch it some other time. But yeah, I watched it last night. But I will say, excellent choice, Charlie. I really enjoyed the movie. I've seen it before, but I haven't seen it in a long time. And like Dom was saying, it's very topical as to what's been going on in the news in the last few months or a month or so. And also, you can bring in the whole, I guess, aliens have been in the news recently too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big all over here.
They're always in the news over in the US, though, aren't they?
Well, they've had a meeting with Congress over it.
What, the aliens?
Well, no, not the aliens, but
Oh,
they're trying to there was a whistleblower who basically worked for the government and said that they've been hiding aliens and technology that we've, I guess, reverse engineered from aliens, and that's why like we've grown so fast and like so from the 20s to like where we are now, like the 1920s or whatever. Maybe it was probably maybe the 30s, 40s. Anyway, well, it's just like it was a big thing that they were going over the last week, and like I go on Reddit and I do kind of see the UFO Reddit guys come on, and like they were crying just because like Congress is acknowledging that there are UFOs and that there are things that they can't talk about. And I think they even said that people died protecting the information. It's just really bizarre. There'll probably be a movie one day. But, it's something, yeah. No,
I don't watch the news, so I didn't know that was going on.
Yeah, no, it was a big thing for like one day, and then they started talking about it. Like Joe Rogan's talked about it. The major news organizations have talked about it. Nothing is concrete other than the fact they're saying, yeah, that there are UFOs out there. Yeah, we do have footage of it, but they don't show any pictures of aliens. They don't show any close-ups of the ships or anything like that. They only show that tic-tac little video, which again I won't get into. But anyway, getting back to the movie, it's a good movie, and James Cameron is one of those directors that for the majority of his movies, he does an excellent job. He takes his time with his movies. He really works hard on research. And I think he even might be in the trivia that they redesign like how like the suits that they wore so that you could see their faces.
Yeah. We'll get to all of that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I remember hearing that, and it's good, and I'm glad. Can we reveal about what happened with the director's cut and the theatrical?
We will get to that.
No, I mean, why half of us watched the theatrical and half of us watched the director's?
Well, I've always been a fan of the director's cut, a huge fan, because it leaves out a huge thing, and it changes the context of the movie. But on reflection, the theatrical is the better version by a long way. By a long way.
You can't say that
Dom.
after making me sit through it. Oh my!
Well, all we'll do for you is take bits out, and you can refer to it. I mean, we will be referring to it.
I think it's a good balance because some of us have watched one.
There you go.
Dom's watched the other, so we'll be able to have an interesting intellectual conversation.
We will.
I've watched both, but I will say, I mean, I've seen the directors before. I do think the theatrical one is better.
It is.
Sorry, Dom.
Definitely.
Should have kept you in the loop.
Cheers, everybody. There we go. My intro has been put to shame by Joe and his alien knowledge, and I've been basically trolled into watching the director's cut, which just went on forever. It's like being stuck in a traffic jam on the M62. It's like, oh my god, when will this end? But anyway,
it does go on a bit at the end. Yeah.
Oh,
Joe, I do like your idea that the whistleblower will make a good film someday. Hello, my name's Harold, and I've seen an alien, and I know where the alien stuff's kept. Who plays Josh Hawley in this? Can I question you about this? Well, we don't have any evidence, and I can't show you any pictures, and I don't know anything's out there, but I can tell you that I've seen one in a corridor. Joe, that's going to be like Citizen Kane. It sounds amazing.
No, there was a guy before him, though.
Hello, I'm Clive. I mean, how many whistleblowers do you want? They're going to say,
no, there was a whistleblower before that. He has seen the aliens. He has
Has
seen
he
the
now?
ships.
Eddie,
No, he
usually
worked for
they commit people.
I'll
like that,
send you
Joe.
videos.
They commit
Like-
people.
They kill
Can you
people
just,
like that.
explain the accent there? Is the CIA whistleblower from Chiswick or something?
Yes.
What is it? Right, okay.
Drives a Fiesta. Yeah,
Right.
and it's upgrading to an Astra at some point.
Well, he's not going to drive around in a flash car, is he? He wants to be unnoticed.
Ah. Aha.
Ah.
I think the original UFO whistleblower's name was Dom, I think. So
Hello, my name's Dominic.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks very much.
Anyway, we won't be here forever. Amanda, Doodle Pip, what did you think?
It's me again. Right. Okay. So I have seen the movie. Completely forgot the movie,
Of
apart
course.
from the fact it was underwater. So it was like seeing it again for the first time, really. I wasn't looking forward to it because I don't know, just the whole I've got a fear of being underwater. So watching a film about people being underwater in suits where potentially they could drown, it's the fear of drowning and the suffocation that makes me feel a bit weird. So I had to watch it, obviously, for the podcast. In sort of reflection, I thought it was a good start to the movie. There was action throughout. It had a good opening. You were left not knowing what actually caused the submarine to go down, other than some electrical magnetic wave that temporarily knocked the power out. So that was quite mysterious, I guess, which kind of intrigued me to watch the movie. And then
Did you miss it? Did you miss the alien at the start?
there was a light. There wasn't.
Well, it was a traveling craft of some sort.
Yeah, it was a light. There wasn't actually an alien. Anyway.
Okay.
That husband-wife animosity was quite good playing throughout the film. And the Navy SEALs playing the true kind of tough guy sort of image. Yeah, it was all right. It kept my attention. I even said to you, didn't I? I was halfway through. Had a bit of a break. Said it kept my attention, and it just kind of developed from there, really. So not a lot of films do that, do they? Where they kind of keep you interested in them. So
Especially that long as well.
yeah. So I'm glad I only watched the 2 hours 20 version. We caught up separately on what we would have missed.
You're
what
going to
we
make
would have
Dom.
watched.
Yeah, you're going to make
in
Dom
2
even more
minutes.
irate. We did it in about 9 minutes of Dom on YouTube. We just
It wasn't 9, it was 2 minutes, darling.
Was it 2 minutes? Yeah, but all they did was show you the wave and things like that. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, Dom. Look, if it makes it really better, your film's coming next. So turn that fan
Look,
upside down, little soldier. Come on.
I don't think you can ever have too many people just running from one submerged room into another submerged room, shouting at each other. I could watch 4 hours of that. No worries.
But the bit that we didn't have was the bit where the aliens were showing what could happen.
The
what they
threat,
might do.
basically. They took out all the Russia
Cold
stuff,
War stuff.
all of that. There was also a lot of scenes between, a lot more animosity between the two characters, the husband and wife.
Oh,
It was like watching a couple bicker for 20
Oh.
minutes, if that's, go on a bus and see it happen if you like, that sort of thing.
Anyway, on to me then. And then we can kickstart the roll call. How I saw this film was, so my local flea pit was the Regal Cinema in Oswestry. Very old cinema. Even had a Wurlitzer in there. Joe, do you know what a Wurlitzer is?
nope.
It's a big...
It's a big organ.
I was going to say...
Oh, okay.
This is where Amanda goes, ooh, big organ. Anyway, Wurlitzer,
And
they
it's
used to
usually played by a man.
He
I think
plays
I've seen that in Monty Python.
places all...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those.
And it rises up.
Rises up from
floor.
the stage. Right.
Mhm.
So it was like a really old school cinema. But
The one at our cinema, he was a midget. He was a 2-foot penis. So it's-
very good.
Oh, I think you said he had a 2-foot penis.
That's the gag.
That's the gag, Joe.
Brilliant.
It was.
Oh, brilliant.
I said I didn't get it. It took me a while. It took me 3 seconds. All right.
Oh,
Yes.
Joe, you're great. Oh,
Sorry.
Excellent.
fabulous.
I just got the gag about the stunning bird and the unlimited supply of money now. But anyway, right. So with the local flea pit, I'd wanted to see it, but I kept putting it off, and I didn't go and see it as I normally would. And then on the last night that it was showing, on the Thursday night before they changed the films over, me and a couple of mates just went, "Should we just go and watch it?" And blown away. When I came out of that, I just went, "What the heck was that?" That was just like unlike anything I'd seen before, especially the effects in some way. I just came out going, "That was just incredible." So to my mind, I put the Abyss in there, not as a sort of legend curveball like Dom puts in order to create some debate, and in some cases, outright violence between us. I put it in there because genuinely, I love this film. I could go, not the director's cut. I just go and watch it again because it's just got good characters. It's got characters you care about, and I've just been to see the Meg too. Now, obviously, the only thing that they have in common is there's water in it. There was nobody that I was rooting for. I couldn't care less about the characters in Meg. And I know it's different styles of filmmaking, but going back to films where you actually care and you're invested in characters, this is why I love this film. And it was great to go back to it because you just don't get that so much anymore. They're all throwaway stuff and you just don't care who. Maybe you root for somebody. So yeah, I love this. So should we get to the trailer?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the trailer.
It began 2 years ago in an unfinished nuclear power plant. It became one of the most challenging motion pictures ever made. And on August 9th, the most original adventure of the summer will begin at theaters everywhere. From James Cameron, the writer and director of The Terminator and Aliens, comes The Abyss.
God, I hate that bitch.
Probably shouldn't have married her then, huh?
Hang on, gentlemen.
Here's a bottomless pit, baby. 2.5 miles straight down.
A dance of light. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I don't think they mean us any harm. I don't know how I know that.
Whatever happens, it's up to us.
That guy scares me more than anything that's down there.
But we all see what we want to see. Coffee looks and he sees hate and fear. You have to look with better eyes than that. Talk to me, Bud, please. Do you hear me?
He's coming up fast.
I need to know if you're okay. You can't leave me here alone.
You never backed away from anything in your life. Now fight!
Well, it might have been 3 minutes, but I still love that trailer. Imagine a trailer that sets up. Here's the film in. It's pretty. It's pretty grueling. It's James Cameron. You know, you love him from the Aliens and Terminator, Piranha 2, The Awakening. For those people that really, really do like James Cameron. And look at that. And then it just presents a film that you go, ooh, what is it? I think you said when we watched it, Amanda, that it was, what is this? Is it a love story?
Oh, on the trailer,
It can be whatever you want it to be.
Music.
Yeah.
No, it's the music that sets the tone, makes it sound like a love story. But it's really weird because that doesn't come through.
Well, I still think that's pretty. I think that's a good trailer. If you don't, it's intriguing enough for you to go and watch it. I would say.
Yeah, it's a good trailer because it's hard. You don't want to spoil too much, but if you don't spoil some of it, you might not attract people to go and see it. Because if you thought it was just like an underwater story, you might not go see it. You know, like again, like Amanda said, I kind of agree with her. I felt very claustrophobic watching this movie, and it just made me very uncomfortable watching certain scenes. So it's hard to get people to go see a movie. You don't see too many movies like that. Although if we did see movies like that in the past, they bombed. I'm not sure what the box office was on this one, but it's still like when you see it, you walk away usually. I don't know what you guys all think. I mean, I'm still not sure about Dom. I mean, I know he. Did you say you enjoyed it?
I enjoyed the start of it. Yeah, I thought.
Okay.
Yeah, if I was to plot it on a graph, it would be a bit of a ski slope from there. But
You and your graphs are always ski slopes. You know, you can go down the hill to then go back up.
You can, yeah. It's just James Cameron wouldn't allow me to.
Yes.
So we'll talk about the ending of this film, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which
whether
ending?
it could be classified as good.
But most people walked away and enjoyed it. But that's because they saw the theatrical one.
Yes.
And again, the director's cut usually is for nerds that love the film that want to see something different, and hopefully it'd be better.
But I'm a reformed nerd on that. I now see the error of my ways. Okay, well, let's go into roll call. I've only got 4 because I'm sure we got other things to talk about. The filming of this movie is, as I say, the podcast in itself. Well, it could be, but it won't be, because I've condensed it quite nicely. Here's roll call.
Roll call.
So, Ed Harris. Who wants to share their favourite Ed Harris films?
He was in Apollo 13.
He was. That's the
He's
first
good in
one you
that.
go for. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I would
Truman
go
Show?
for The Abyss.
I was going to say Dom was going to pick the Truman Show first.
I forgot he was in the Truman Show.
Oh,
I haven't seen the Truman Show in a while.
Christoph. He plays Christoph, the creator of the world. Oh, wow.
He was in...
Amanda, you got anything? Well, everyone else has picked one. No. Okay.
No.
Fine. Right. On to you two gentlemen. Back to you.
He was in History of Violence. I really like that movie.
Yeah. Well, I first saw him in The Right Stuff, which is why I was looking forward to seeing this. He played John Glenn in The Right Stuff. And then a film that Alex Cox had on, was talking about, called Walker. So that was really good. Glenn Ross, he plays one of the salespeople in there. He's in The Firm, Apollo 13. Most famously, I thought somebody was going to come out with The Rock.
Oh yeah, The Rock.
Yeah. He's incredible in The Rock.
Who directed
Really
Walker?
I think it was Alex Cox.
Okay.
There you go. Very good, Joe. I know you're
I'm looking at Amanda. Amanda's like, I saw her.
Well, she laughs over the most trivial, like tiny little references.
If we're ever allowed to go into the 90s, then Glenn Ross is going to be my first choice of film, I think. What a film that is. And
Powerhouse.
interesting discussion on it as well, I reckon.
Yeah. I mean, the actors are just off the charts, all of them. Truman Show, he was in that very strange film Mother, starring Jennifer Lawrence, which I don't think if anybody's seen it. It's the couple that come to the house and then the visitor comes and you find out that it's all a cult. You watched it, Amanda, you've probably promptly forgot it, but said that is very disturbing towards the end, which it was. He was in Geostorm. He's famous for being in Westworld, the TV series, which is extremely good. As Dom would say, 3 seasons, and then the 4th season kind of like it dipped and it never came back. And then Top Gun Maverick, he's right at the start. He plays the visiting general that wants his plane back. He wants to shut down the research. So you know what, Ed Harris has got some good stuff behind him, and he's a quality actor.
So Dom, you didn't do Oscar research on this one?
I did, yeah. He got nominated for Truman Show, didn't he? As Best Supporting Actor, and it's quite a weak field. He got beaten by James Coburn for Affliction, which, I'd say passed me by. Also nominated Robert Duvall for A Civil Action, Geoffrey Rush for Shakespeare in Love, and Billy Bob Thornton for A Simple Plan. So, weak year, I think, and still failed to get it, sadly, for him.
That's a shame. Billy Bob Thornton is usually really good. But A Simple Plan is a really harsh film. I think it's like,
Well, Shakespeare in Love that obviously wasn't big that year, although not in that category for Geoffrey Rush.
Overrated.
Yeah, decent enough, but baffling that it's right up there with some of the Oscar winners. But could you, with a gun at your head, A Civil Action and Affliction? Would you know those 2 films?
I know Civil Action. Affliction, I knew that he won for, but I've never been. Nick Nolte. If there was a Nick Nolte film that I haven't watched, then I need to self-flagellate because Nick Nolte is just amazing. But yeah. Any more for Ed Harris? Because we can move straight on to Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. She was in The King of Comedy. So yeah, we covered it, but she wasn't. She was like in the background. She was in the background. It's like a background character. I checked it out. I was like, so we'd never know. But she was in Scarface.
Yeah. This is how good Scarface was. I didn't see The Godfather before I saw Scarface, and I was convinced that Al Pacino was Cuban. And I was convinced that she was Cuban too.
Right.
I didn't know she was Italian. I had no idea.
Yeah. She's great in that. The thing that made James Cameron want to cast her in this film was The Colour of Money with Tom Cruise and Paul Newman.
That was good.
She's excellent in that.
Also Academy Award nominated for that, and she lost out to Diane West for Hannah and Her Sisters, which is fair enough. But
Diane West is nowhere near as hot.
True.
But she had a great career. Sorry, I'm nicking your thunder out. No. She was in Robin Hood as well for all of the shows.
That's where I remember her from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But at the risk of sounding wearisome and predictable and getting trolled by Charlie again, if you plotted a career on a graph, then et cetera, et cetera. It didn't really live up to its early promise, did it?
It does dip. I was going to say she's probably more famous if you remember it, and I'm going to set Amanda up here for a perfect double entendre. Do you remember the Brian Adams video for Robin Hood? Everything I do it for you. She's famous for blowing on Kevin Costner's arrow. No. Okay, I got something.
I haven't seen that in a while.
I got something.
I'm sure it was a flaming arrow.
She blows on his arrow so that he misses.
Joe, it was top of the charts here for 14 weeks, was it?
16. 17 weeks.
17 supposed to blow.
No, she's trying to put him off.
Oh.
She's blowing him.
Well, yeah. If you're going to put somebody off their stroke, then blowing is going to, yeah.
That song blew for sure.
I went here,
you know what?
against
it was our number one for weeks and weeks and weeks.
No, it was number one over here too. It's so annoying. You put
was
the
it
radio
16
on.
weeks?
No, it wasn't that long.
Weeks.
17 weeks. It was number one here.
What was longer, this or the wet song?
Of that.
Wet we're 1 year behind it. Number one behind. It's either 16 and 15 or it's 17 and 16.
There's just a bunch of sappy teenagers that like that song.
No, I don't think it was. I think it was adults. Stupid adults.
I love that song. It's a great song.
It was a school disco staple, yeah. Snogging on the disco floor, I remember it well.
Oh, I remember snogging on a school.
That's what I did my primary school teacher career, hey.
Pardon?
Inappropriate joke alert. I'll have to put one in.
Uh-oh.
Maybe the AI will pick out Dom's inappropriate jokes. It goes, and there goes Dom again. Hey, if you listen at 4216, there he is. That wacky japester.
But
Anyway.
I do want to say really quick about her and also Ed Harris. I don't think they had the career they deserved. I think that they should have been more
I
prominent.
admit, yes. Yeah.
Both of them.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree.
Especially after watching this movie. I was like, what happened to them? You know, I mean, I know he's been in some movies, but when you look at like how many movies Tom Hanks has been in, you know, compared to Ed Harris, and you know, and that he's been nominated so many times for performances, Ed Harris is just so much better than him, and it's just sad.
Yeah, definitely. You swore, Joe. You mentioned Tom Hanks. You know, well, the only time we're allowed to talk about Tom Hanks is when I eventually choose Bachelor Party, which is the only thing that I'll give him.
Yeah,
Bachelor Party is one of the comedies of the 80s.
I was hoping we'd do that one day.
We will. I promise you, Joe. We will. Continuing Dom's career destruction of her, she went on to star in The Perfect Storm, and the only thing of note after that, she was in the Marvel TV series The Punisher.
Oh, was she? And I'm a Marvel fan.
Well, there you go.
Watch it.
No. Well. Next, Michael Biehn. We discussed him when we did Aliens.
Oh, is it Coffee?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What did you think? I mean,
he played a good character.
Is he not good in the films that he's in? Even Navy SEALs.
I thought he wasn't good. I thought he was disappointing in this film. If we're talking about his performance, no, I did. I thought his breakdown that he had, it was pretty one-dimensional, really, and there's a lot of him kind of just staring into the mid-distance, and before he went totally nuts. But I definitely made a note that it was underwhelming, particularly because he's great in The Terminator, isn't he? And I think he's pretty strong in Aliens as well. But
pretty strong. I think did we not unanimously agree that was 10 out of 10?
No, the film's 10 out of 10, but his performance within it, I mean,
it wasn't huge, you know, like it was more Ripley. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in Tombstone. I liked him in Tombstone.
Absolutely. Tombstone. Yeah. He was also, I've got to mention it, Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen. He was also in The Rock. He's the leader of the SEALs that come in through the sewers.
Does he have a long-winded and fairly unconvincing breakdown in that as well, or
No, it's a very short death.
Oh, okay. Probably for the best, really.
And I agree with you, Dom. How long were they underwater before he had his breakdown?
Well, about 6 hours, 20 minutes from memory. Yeah, so it went last.
In real time.
Yeah.
No, because if he's a Navy SEAL, he should be trained more than anybody that was on that vessel.
Honestly, the degree of unprofessionalism in this film was just bizarre. You know, they were just doing sub rescues with a bit of string and some sellotape, and just whoever they could happen to round up at the time. Oh yeah, I know you have to suspend disbelief, but
seriously,
you cannot explain to me the US military works on that basis. Oh, it's tethered. There's a storm coming. Too late. Catastrophic issue. The Navy SEALs are totally unprepared for the situation they encounter, and in fact are a massive part of the problem. You know, I'm not even American, and I'm sticking up for them. Sorry, Amanda.
That's okay. It's fine. I forgot what I was going to say now.
Okay, well, he was also in Alien 3. Can we count that?
Not really.
Well, he was in Alien 3 for... Can we even say a second? I'm not even sure it's a second. You just cut to his face, isn't it? But he is credited as being in Alien 3, even though his face is on screen for a second. That's it.
Oh, cool. I know what I was going to say now.
Okay.
He goes a little bit mad, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets psychosis. He gets the
yeah. So
welcome to the party, pal.
His buddies, his Navy SEAL buddies, surely are trained in recognizing that.
But he's the commanding officer. They're not going to.
Doesn't matter though. Surely, if you, as a subordinate, know that something's not quite right with your a commanding officer, there is a potential, I don't know, is there a potential to not follow command if you think that they've gone a little bit doolally?
It's not the Enterprise where the chief medical officer can take over, and just say, I'm
Well-
relieving you of command.
No, you're right in a way, Amanda. I mean, the Navy SEALs are not a bunch of boobs. I mean, they're basically like the high tier special forces in the military, and they go through such insane training that most people don't make it. So that's why it's like now he snaps. I mean, he would have snapped in basic training for sure. So it just doesn't make any sense. But there wouldn't be a movie if he didn't snap. So
No. But
Plus, Demi-
it amazed me that his colleagues did what he said, because I just didn't think
we will get to him and his colleagues. I would say that Demi Moore, did she do Navy SEAL training in G.I. Jane?
I don't think it was Navy SEALs.
Right.
It was
Okay.
probably some other special forces group.
Right. Do remember that.
But Navy SEALs is the most. That's it. Like if you want to show you're a tough ass man, you go into the Navy SEALs, and if you come out a Navy SEAL, you have much respect.
What's our elite force?
SAS.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's not the commandos, Marine commandos.
Marines. Well, I'm trying to think of the line from Commando where he goes, "Oh, I eat green berets for lunch, and I'm hungry."
Yeah, the
She
Marines
says-
had the
she says-
green berets.
Yeah. Anyway, Arnie wasn't a Navy SEAL. He was just in an elite force of some kind. Anyway, Commando's brilliant.
I did want to say, and I don't know if I heard he's a jerk in real life.
Oh, yeah. I think I told you that when we did the earliest
Yeah.
podcast.
But I've also heard other people say it too. But I think you did tell me that too.
He's basically, he drank a lot. He drinks a lot. Or he did used to. I think he's got over it now. But when he used to go to Comic-Cons, they used to say, "Where is he?" And the runner would go and get him and find him surrounded by bottles of whiskey and stuff like that. And he'd just turn up where people have paid hundreds of pounds in order to see him. And he basically just slurred his way through stuff and things like that. But
Well, that's
I
quite
think
sad,
it's-
though, isn't it? That's
it
not
is.
him being a
No.
horrible bloke.
he isn't like that now, because I listened to him on the what is it, the Inside of You podcast, Josh Rosenbaum's podcast, which is brilliant. And he's on there and talking about going through the crap that he put people through, and he's so sorry for all the people that he's, genuinely, he's rather than this somebody coming and go, "Oh yeah, well, I messed up and I really shouldn't have done." He's genuinely sorry for the stuff that he was, but the stuff, and you can see him now at Comic Cons. They've got kids dressed up as Newt, and women dressed up and men dressed up as Ripley, and he's doing the whole pose where he's showing
that's
how
cool.
to fire the thing, and you just think, so he obviously, and he genuinely loves the adulation that he's got from playing characters that mean something to people. And I'm like, well, fair play to you.
That's
You messed
great.
up, but last actor, there's so many others, but I just wanted to pick Chris Elliott.
Oh, I know him.
So Chris Elliott, I'm going to direct this one at Amanda. TV series, comedy, we used to watch before going to work. And he played the brother. In the film, he was the operator that was on the ship, the guy with the sort of shaved bald head and the beard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you recognise him?
Don't know who you're referring to. Sorry.
Okay. Well, we could stay here all day trying to describe him. Was he wearing the red shirt?
You're on about the actor out of Groundhog Day and
Kingpin, something about Mary.
Something about Mary, that's the one, yeah.
But he was the brother in Everybody Loves Raymond. The brother.
Oh,
of-
yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember him from that. We laughed so much at him. She's still looking, for those people that are on YouTube, she's looking perplexed like we never watched this thing. But then
I remember
no
Owen
change, no change
Raymond
there,
and his
everyone.
brother, because he was a big guy. I didn't recognise him in the movie. Who was he in the movie?
He's not brother Robert.
He's like
the brother in, yeah.
He's the brother's wife's brother. He's Robert's brother-in-law.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's very nerdy. He's into comic books. He owns a comic book store. You know what's funny is Pee Wee Herman played him before he did in that series.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Okay.
And then he didn't come back as him because of all of his problems that he had with getting caught in the theater exposing himself.
Anyway, R.I.P. Paul Rubens. Okay, so on that note, that's the end of roll call. I will say, just final thing, that the Rotten Tomato scores are 88% critics and 83% for the audience scores, so pretty good. Not that that's going to influence your scores. It made $100 million from a budget of $47 million, so it made its money back. And Dom, were you not going to say what Oscar it won?
It won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects, which is probably fair enough, isn't it? Beat Back to the Future 2 and The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Yes, which I still haven't watched.
Got nominated for 4 others, but they're all technical ones, and nobody's interested in the technical Oscars, are they? Really? So,
well,
true.
They are if they win. They are if it's a film that you genuinely like, and you go, "Oh, thank goodness!" It's Oscar winning. Yeah, you'd always bring that technical one out when you can.
Was it last week we did Batman? It seems to blur into one another in a positive way, obviously.
It's Weekend at Bernie's, which I'm sure you've watched Weekend at Bernie's too.
Yeah, well, Batman beat it in Best Art Direction, Set Decoration, which I think is a bit harsh because I think probably. No, I don't. Anyway, let's move on, Charlie. Getting us bogged down in 40 minutes worth of Oscar bants on the technical categories.
Absolutely. So let's go into a tiny bit. I'll make this as quick as I can, just to set the scene for how this is filmed. When the trailer said that it was problematic, or that it was like epic and it's never been seen before or done before, they're entirely right. Nobody has been this crazy. James Cameron was asked, "Do you want to do this all via miniatures and special effects? Do you want to try and create something and we'll work it out?" He went, "No, I want to film this. I want to film this properly, and I want to film this underwater. I don't want to go out at sea. I don't want the same thing happen with Jaws to beset the problems, and I don't want it halfway. So I need to find a place where I could do this." They found a nuclear facility that was halfway abandoned. It was abandoned halfway through being built. And next to it, so the first thing that he saw when he went to it was a turbine pit. And he had a look and he said, "Oh, that's going to be perfect for filming." And then he saw the main tank in the facility and went, "Oh, I've got 2 tanks that I can film in. A tank where he put all of the actors, and B tank which he did for all the miniature work that he needed to do." So that's what he had. But unfortunately, logistically, he had all of this water to play with and fill this tank up, which took 6 days to fill up. Everyone had to go through diver training. Everyone had to go through, even though some of them did it separately. They had to block out the sun while they filmed because it had to look like the depths of the ocean. So they put black beads on the top, and they just filled it full of black beads, which shut out the sunlight.
And tarpaulin over the top.
Absolutely, and tarpaulin out the top. But what happened is it kept breaking. There was a storm. They had a problem with goats. It's probably a good time to mention the goats. The goats used to pee everywhere, and it used to actually corrode some of the stuff that was around. But they would actually chew the pipes, and so it would affect things and cause delays. And when it caused delays, it means instead of it being an 8 to 12 hour shoot, it was a 15 to 18 hour shoot nearly every day. And because the actors had to be underwater, they kind of like sat around in their suits a lot underwater. So that was problematic from the start. Because
the set was delayed as well in being finished.
Yeah, the set was delayed because
they
it had to be
build the rig as well underwater.
Yeah, build the whole thing. And because the water became murky, they kept having to pump loads of chlorine into the water, which meant that people got burns from it because there's so much chlorine in there.
The hair got bleached as well.
Yeah, yellow hair. So they kept having to unbleach those. There were ear and sinus infections. When the storm ripped off the tarpaulin, it meant they couldn't film in the day anymore, so they had to switch everything to night filming.
Which was cold.
Because they didn't have light, they had to invent. James Cameron worked with somebody, and I think he worked with NASA to invent a 1.2 kilowatt light source that he could use to make it look as if it's the sole light source that's coming in, which is why I think it's so well lit. So no wonder it won the Oscar. But the before we get into some of the near-death experiences that they had, and again, I will be quick on this. One of the things that James Cameron wanted was, because they created the suits, I think you mentioned this at the start, Dom, or Joe, when they created the special suits, the diving suits, they had to be able to see the face and they had to be able to communicate. So they created the suits that you see in the film. But if you hear the original recording of what they're all talking like, the dialogue was full of bubbles and full of sound. So they took that out, and then they found out it didn't work because it just sounded like somebody talking normally. So he had to put a little bit back in order to make it sound good.
I did want to say though, it looked amazing.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen that in years, and it still holds up. It's hard to. It's mostly practical effects, right? Except for that one scene where you have the the alien morphing into water and going into the vessel.
I think that still holds up though.
Yeah, no, I said the
effects
the whole movie holds up, the effects, except when I saw the ending, which we didn't see in the theatrical one. Those waves look
awful. But if you think Industrial Light and Magic had basically just they'd gone off from working on the Star Wars films. There was a spin-off, and the only film they'd done up to this point was Young Sherlock Holmes. Does anyone remember that film?
Oh yeah.
So do you remember the scene where the stained glass window comes to life?
Oh yeah.
It's incredible. So yeah, they basically did. They basically employed them to do the special effects, and thank goodness it worked, because they didn't have any time in order to do it any other way. And that was the first scene that was shot. Their reaction to the water, to the alien.
That was a pioneering graphics invention, what they'd done. It had never been done before. So they actually were creating new stuff just for the movie.
Yeah. And used to far better effect in anyone? Bueller?
Terminator?
Yeah, Terminator 2, was it?
Yeah. I mean, you take that technology and then 2 years later, you take that technology in that scene and then make a entire character out of it, and it's incredible.
But before we move on too much, I thought the special effects were excellent and ahead of their time, definitely. But I thought that bit that you're referring to there, where they were walking around on this submerged set, and the footage that you got there, I think it's the single strongest part of the movie. And actually, it's almost disappointing that he didn't put the same amount of effort into perhaps the plot or the characterization. I'm not saying that they were poor, but to go to all that length, and I know you're going to get onto some of the dangers and perils that they all faced. I think it comes across on screen. It just looks fantastic, and even in 2023.
I mean, just to go through those quickly, but James Cameron nearly drowned. He was down filming, and the assistant director failed to warn him to refill. He noticed he was low. He called to help from the director of photography, who was deaf. So he started to take all his stuff off so that he could make his way topside. So as he took everything off, the safety diver came and went, "Oh, that's my job. Gave him the regulator, but it was broken, so he couldn't use it.
Upside down. So you got water in.
No, that's Ed Harris. We'll get to Ed Harris in a moment. He had the upside down and the mixture of water. So the regulator was broken, and James Cameron then said, "I need to get to the top." But the diver was told, if any of these people freak out, including the director, give them a big hug, because they might be having like a panic attack, and try and cool him down. Well, James Cameron was drowning, or was running out of air. So he ended up punching the safety diver. And that's he says to his mind, that's the only reason he's alive. Makes it to the top, gets out, immediately fires the safety diver and the assistant director, and said, "You're out of here."
Oh, that's cool.
Mary Elizabeth Mansantonio, she said, the quote, "The Abyss was a lot of things. Fun wasn't one of them." So in the scene where she's been revived, basically they had to film that scene where Ed Harris is slapping her and pressing on her chest and doing the CPR. They had to film that multiple times, and she was wet on a cold iron. It was horrible for her. And then after the fourth take, she said to James Cameron, she just sat up and went, "We are not animals, and you cannot treat us like this." And the rest of the crew backed her up. Does that sound like Aliens, where James Cameron pissed off the whole of the English crew that they all sat down and refused to work?
How much did she get paid for this movie? That's part of the job. I'm sorry.
Whoa. I don't think any of the stuff that they went through and having to sit and do all of the stuff that they did is worth the money they got paid.
That she was cold?
No.
I'm with.
Well, yeah. So you're gonna go like.
I'm with Joe on this. If you compare it to Stanley Kubrick and what he got up to on The Shining and things, that was proper bullying. And this, I agree.
James Cameron is a bully.
You're gonna get cold and wet.
James Cameron, in every film he's done, there is always really bad stories. Not just the actors, the whole crew. Nobody likes him when he films this thing. The fact he produces masterpieces, all right,
Well, that's it. Yeah, never apologize for having high standards. That's what I say. Yeah,
very good point.
Well, Ed Harris, he was doing the wall run, so they built the rock face sideways, so that when he's falling down the rock face at the end, he's actually been pulled along. That's how they filmed it, and they kept doing it from different angles. So while they were pulling him along, the safety divers line got tangled, and he started to have trouble. The crew member came over and gave him the regulator, but he gave, as Amanda said, he gave it to him upside down, and it wasn't on properly. So Ed Harris ended up breathing in half air and half water straight into his lungs, of which then somebody came along and then gave him the proper regulator. And he says on the documentary, which they say very little on that documentary for something like the making of, he drove home and he burst into tears because he just went, "I think I nearly died." So James Cameron nearly died. Mary nearly died. I'm sure there were other people that.
How did she almost die? Because she was cold?
Because Ed Harris was slapping her around the face. I mean, he's like a method actor, isn't he? So,
That's like close to death. She saw the light, but stayed away from
him. He had to hold a breath. Anything could have gone wrong with the bit where he has to bring her back. That's her. That's not a dummy. That's her. So, I think you've got to give the actors a bit of credit for this.
I had a hangover last week and I was closer to death than she was, Charlie. Yeah. So I'm not having that. Yeah, I had a 10 out of 10 one, and
you're all a bit.
So I thought you were going to tell me that they were actually that the defibrillator was actually hooked up. Then I would say she's got a point.
Right. Okay.
But that was her masterful acting, where she pushed her boobs up in the air.
Kubrick would have stopped her heart for real on set. And,
Amanda, you've got to jump in here. Seriously, listen to these two.
Well,
I thought her acting. The acting, we just praised her for her acting in The Colour of Money and Scarface, and now you go, well, she can't really. She just got. Or she does.
No, I'm not saying she acts bad. I'm just saying she complains a little too much. She's not listening. I mean, if she is, I don't care. Call me.
Who's not listening? The actress or Amanda?
No, the actress.
Right. Okay. Do we? Right. Let's bring it down a notch. Do we like the characters? I mean, even though you introduce them, you've got like I forgot his name now. The guy with the cap. I should know because I've watched this many times.
That's part of the problem is some of them are forgettable. I mean, you know them by appearance, but
Gamma's Tool, the trucker guy, the nerd guy with the pet rat.
Yeah, it's
the thing that baffled me Right. And I'm not sure if this is because it was a theatrical one or not. But during the movie where the water breaches the rig, you have 3 guys that get trapped, and Ed Harris can't open the door from his side, and they invariably drown. But one of them comes back later on in the movie and said, "Oh, that I had a."
No, that's not the same guy.
Are you sure? Because
no, he got scared because he saw the alien in the beginning, and
Jammer, yeah, the tall guy,
and he went into a coma, like, so he was in a coma the whole time.
Oh, he was in a coma. Oh, okay.
And he just happened to wake up just as Ed Harris was about to get killed, which is fine.
Okay, I completely missed that bit then. I thought it was one of the guys that got drowned towards the start. Okay.
I have an issue I wanted to ask about. So when Michael Baines, he's in that vessel, and then it goes off the cliff and it goes down into the abyss and then it implodes.
Yeah.
Why doesn't that happen to Ed Harris? He went much further.
That's a good question.
I mean, even at least his mask.
Well, is it nothing? Is it something to do with the fluoridated water, the breathable water?
No, the glass on the little submersible vessel thing was cracked, wasn't it? And that's why it imploded. But in the same respect, his visor was glass, but it wasn't ultra thick, was it? Which is what you'd expect it to be to withstand the pressures.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I guess going from one material to another, the fact that it was in a presumably metal sort of headgear thing, surely the seal on it would have broken as well. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And the steel surely would have had to have been really vastly reinforced. It just doesn't make sense because the pressure down there would have been
huge. And you know what was that thing called? A Little Geek? Was that what it was called?
Big Geek and Little Geek, yeah.
Yes, a Little Geek imploded, basically. Yes. So that's why I don't get why he didn't also suffer the same fate. And again, maybe it's just creative writing that he decided to make it that way, but it's little nitpicky stuff kind of bothers me at times.
I think we've got our offshoot podcast, movie physics with Amanda.
What?
Yeah, just physics. Well, because I think it was in a metal helmet that I think it's the strength of the glass. Yeah, it could work. We could do how the duck.
I can't make out. If
I got how the duck.
Yeah, and the water was fluorinated too. So
I misread it. It's fine. I think the relationship between the two main characters, I think, was really good.
What about the husband and wife bickering?
Yeah, it was almost going to be Jamie Lee Curtis in the role.
Oh wow!
But his future wife, Catherine Bigelow, was making a film called Blue Steel, where she played a cop, shot somebody at the start of the film, and then has to go through all of the investigation and everything from it. When I say future wife, when he stopped making Aliens and he was making this, he was in the process of divorcing Gail Ann Hurd, his wife, who made Aliens and Terminator, Piranha 2, all of those, which is on the documentary on Netflix. So if you watch the Aliens documentary on Netflix, the movies that made us, you'll be able to see all of this. But he was dating Catherine Bigelow on the weekends while he was making The Abyss, and then they ended up marrying when they finished the filming. So he was inputting into the writing, because it was acrimonious, the divorce. He was inputting some of the kind of like dialogue and things that he was saying into the film, because he was like pissed off at it all. So I think it works. I think you're invested in the characters. What do we think about the aliens? What do we think about the design of the aliens?
I wasn't crazy about them.
I think the one that everyone remembers is the water spout, isn't it? But I thought the other ones were more impressive. And are they mechanical? Are they organic? That's the question they pose, and it is hard to tell. I thought they were pretty well rendered. I thought it was a bit irritating how they would appear fleetingly to just one character, and then people would believe her. I thought that was a bit obvious. But no, fair play for 1999? Sorry, excuse me, 1989. It was fantastic quality.
I mean, what did they have sex with fish?
Who? The aliens?
The aliens, yeah. It's like they look like
sex
stingrays.
with each other. They have sex with each other.
And they look like stingrays. And
they're crafts, Joe. Did you not see the water thing that was powerful?
I don't know what they are. I mean, that could be their whole...
Did you see the turbine? Did you see the turbine on it?
So that could be their lungs for all you know, or their internal organs. I don't know. No one.
The lungs are in their feet, are they?
Could be.
Oh, you're back on your alien tip again now.
Maybe they're hermaphrodites.
Yeah, maybe.
Can we have Colin the whistleblower in? Well, I've seen that alien, and
maybe they're trans
aliens.
I think so. Yeah.
What?
Just my read of it.
What? Because they have their lungs in their feet. How does that translate to?
Look, it's impossible to question that whether that's valid or not. We just have to accept that it is. If I've got lungs in my feet, then you just take me for who I am, Charlie. That's what I say. In fact, I insist you come on a march in support of me.
Octopuses have balls in their head, so.
Polar bears are left-handed.
Oh, stop.
It's true. Anyone else for some crazy animal facts while we're here trying to talk about the special effects? God, how did we get onto that so quickly? I mean,
sex with fish. That was the comment that triggered this.
Right. They've built a whole world. How long have they been down there, by the way?
I mean, bubbling a halibut. that's how it came about.
The bit I don't. Right, I'm going to say from an alien point of view. Right. From a physics point of view, when they come up from the ocean at the end, and the whole thing lifts up, so that whole bit, it comes up from the abyss. Funnily enough, and yet the rig is on a cliff. So did they pick it up and drop it into the middle of the thing that was rising? Because that's always annoyed me. How I can get that it's going to get the ships when it reaches the surface.
Oh, okay. If we're going into continuity, right? Okay.
Uh-oh.
So, when Ed Harris and the guy with the cap have to go and get to the other hatch, they take the clothes off, don't they? They take the trousers off, so they're just in the skids and a t-shirt when they dive down to the other hatch. And then Ed Harris says, "Oh, I can't get it open." The other guy says, "I ain't going to make it to the pool." So he says, "Right, you go back. I'll go to the pool." So he then swims under and goes up to the pool where the mad guy is, the mad Navy SEAL. And mysteriously, he's got trousers back on again.
Which guy?
Ed Harris.
Oh, Ed Harris had trousers on when he
had trousers on again.
Maybe found them floating around or something before he.
And there we were thinking James Cameron was a genius filmmaker. I mean,
clearly not.
Seriously, I've just docked 4 points for that. That's just ridiculous.
I love the reference to skids as well.
Skids.
Well, they probably were. They didn't seem to have any washing.
Joe, do you call them tidy whities?
Oh, skids. Oh yeah, no. They say skids are basically, poop stains on your underwear.
Oh, no, I meant knickers, pants. Oh, pants are trousers. Oh, God, here we go again. Underwear, boxer shorts. There you go.
Yeah, skids,
Oh, okay.
If they're a little too tight on you and you didn't wipe thoroughly, that's a skid.
That's a skid mark.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so we're talking about the same thing?
I'm talking about actual clothing. The pants.
so
the
so
knickers.
pant-
Oh God, the box shorts.
So are skids skid marks, or are they just another name for pants?
In the UK, the name for knickers. Yeah. Pants.
Knickers are underwear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Women's underwear.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's
Dom,
all new to me.
How can you be so hateful against a section of society? They want
Men,
to.
men wear knickers. Men
Men
wear
don't.
ladies' knickers. Some of them.
Well, you know, as a fetish, but not as a matter of course, do they? You know,
No.
I bet less than half the men on this pod are currently wearing knickers.
Write it on a postcard.
I want to be called. I want to be called Loretta. We'll start being. It'll start getting into Life with Brian in a moment. So, don't you oppress me. Yeah. So the effects of the aliens are I mean, they're good for the time.
They're cute.
Yeah.
No,
They're nice,
not as
pretty
cute as
pink
ET.
colours.
Oh God, E.T.
ET was cute.
E.T.'s banned from this podcast, by the way.
E.T. was not cute.
Really?
Yes, but that's why. Well, tell me, make the case for E.T.
I don't know. I liked it when I was younger. I mean,
Oh.
I think I cried at the end of the movie.
It's considered to be a blockbuster. It's an entertaining blockbuster, and it's neither.
Oh, you know what I noticed?
It's E.T. E.T. was cool. I just didn't like how he looked. I thought he looked a bit creepy.
Supposed to look lovable.
A certain library of Tom Cruise's movies requires Interview with the Vampire.
Well, it's a 90s show, so I'll never cover it on this podcast.
Okay.
And when it changes, Joe, I think. Wait a minute. Let me have a think. I think Don might agree with me here. There's 197 films more deserving than The Interview with the Vampire that I can think of just at the top of my head.
Wait a minute! Don't rope me into your little corner here. I like horror in inverted comma films. I like Interview with the Vampire.
Do you like pretentious rubbish? Because
Well,
I mean,
you know I do. You know I do.
I know, but there's pretentious rubbish, and then there's.
How much did you go? How much did you spend on the Meg 2? Go see that.
I see the Meg. I'd go and watch the Meg 2 on continuous loop for 2 weeks, then watch Interview with a Vampire once.
It's not that bad.
It is that bad.
It's not that bad.
It is that bad. It is.
No,
that
yeah.
bad.
Well, I'm just saying you haven't seen it in a while.
I spent
You should
15
just-
quid, by the way. 15
There's
quid.
a romanticism to it.
Yeah, why don't you watch this TV series that they have now on Interview with the Vampire?
What?
Oh, God, what? There's a series.
Oh yeah, and of course it's race swapped.
Of course it is. They all, yeah.
Oh, they
Yeah.
didn't need to do that, really, did they?
Is it Snow White and the 6 tall people and the one you're not allowed to say dwarf, but person of statured height, of restricted height or something?
And I was worried about getting cancelled on this pod today, but you're all
I'm
joining
using
me.
all the right terminology.
I know you could use the word midget. I know where that word was said because I'd like to see a vampire midget then.
But that's not even in the remake, which I only knew about.
No, but I'd like to see it.
60
so.
seconds ago.
You just brought up Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I mean,
I'd like to see a vegan vampire movie to be truly representative, to be honest.
I think that exists somewhere. Now, isn't that
It's on Disney Plus.
That's Twilight.
They ate people in. Didn't they eat people in Twilight? I didn't watch that. I
No,
haven't
I
watched
think
the-
they became
I didn't watch the
vegetarian.
Hunger Games either. And I won't watch the Hunger Games now, especially Jennifer Lawrence going. Before I started the Hunger Games, there were no strong female characters in movies. Oh, excuse me. I just got a bone to pick with you. In fact, I've got about 12.
Well, she's an idiot.
She is an idiot. She is.
Oscar-winning idiot.
What'd she win the Oscar for? Silver Linings Playbook. Is it?
Yeah, and
Or
also she won it for something else. She won 2 Oscars. It's
Ugh.
insane.
She's the weakest thing in Passengers with Chris Pratt.
She's the
anyway.
weakest thing in the X-Men movies too.
Yeah,
and they made her like the huge star of it. Which...
definitely, she's terrible. Yeah.
All right, so can we talk
Anyway,
about
right, back to the bit.
Can we talk about like the different endings between the
Go for
director's
it.
cut?
Go for it, because this is where Dom stares at me. So for the people that are watching on YouTube, this is where Dom scowls at me for about,
Right.
I don't know,
Dom,
10 minutes.
what ending did you see?
A long one.
Yeah, oh God, yeah, the interminable one. Yeah, yeah, it was awful. I mean, what a waste of a ending of a film. Yeah, go on, someone bring it to life for me. And to be honest, I can't remember the theatrical version.
So like our ending basically is a theatrical one. You know, he goes down, he meets the aliens, he throws up and all that, and they're basically just putting the words that he typed in to his wife and all that, and then he waves at them, and then they go up. You know, you don't see any potential destruction by tsunamis to like all these different countries. That doesn't exist in the theatrical one. The aliens are a lot friendlier, and they have no reason to do something like that. They're peaceful aliens living under the sea.
Is that his accent these days? I don't know. Didn't they change it for the film?
I've seen that.
I prefer old Sebastian anyway.
Oh yes.
Well,
anyway, that's it.
Oh, right. Okay.
And the director's cut, it inevitably goes on for longer and slightly less inevitably involves mega tsunamis that look particularly unconvincing. And I don't know, some themes that are cobbled together from The Day the Earth Stood Still and various Twilight episodes you may have seen in the 70s, because it's a weird combination of disappointing and unoriginal. I think the endings. Yeah. What did you think, Charlie?
Yeah, well, I used to like it because I just think, because I remember I knew that it was there because on the VHS they had the deleted scenes. They didn't make it seamless. They didn't make it into one. And then they released the Laserdisc version and then the Blu-ray, and then they put the ending on. And because reluctantly, the whole reason why James Cameron didn't want the director's cut version in the cinema, he fought the studio. I said, I don't want it. The effects look poor. It's taken away from the film. The aliens are benign, except when they see humanity, they want to basically show themselves and be part of it. I used to think it was brilliant because he cleaned up those scenes, and the scenes that you saw, Dom, were cleaned up. You should have seen the original ones because it was very poor. So it was a good shout to leave them out. I don't like the director's cut version now. I can see it for what it is. I know that he's working on the restoration for Aliens and The Abyss at the moment. He had to get a lot of Avatar stuff out of the way, but he'd always planned to do the 4K restoration and bring it to life. So we will see the 4K version of The Abyss before the end of the year. And he'll do what he does best. He'll clean it up, and I'm sure it'll look great.
Well, with the director's cut, it showed to me that he's not perfect.
Yeah, go with that.
That he wanted that still to be cleaned up and put into a director's cut. No, so he just left it out. Didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'll give you that. So before we do the draw for the next podcast, it's scores on The Doors time. So I'll go last. Let's go back in order. Dom.
Yeah, so I think that the film, I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to, but I do admire a director who throws himself into a film like this, and it's brave and ambitious. You have to acknowledge that, and I think some parts of it are very strong. We talked about the way that some of the scenes were filmed, and I think that all that investment and jeopardy that they put into it comes across on the screen. So I thought that was great. Something we didn't really talk about in our review was the use of point of view kind of techniques to bring the audience into the film. So it does feel claustrophobic, and it does feel like you're kind of hurtling along these narrow corridors with the actors, and I thought that worked really well. I thought the characterization was a bit cliched, and I didn't think he invested the same time and attention into the story as he did to other parts of the film. And the director's cut was just too long. Just went on forever. I found the film hard to score. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10 for the first third, maybe a 6, 7 for the second third, and then pretty disappointing ending. But I'm not going to average those out. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because I think it's a bold, ambitious, and interesting film. I'll never watch the director's cut again, but I think the theatrical release stands alone, and it's worth watching. It's on the edge of being a 90s film, isn't it? But I think still ticks the box for us 80s aficionados. So yeah, 7 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
That's high. I didn't think you'd do that, Dom.
You see, still got the capacity to surprise despite my predictable graph analogies and Oscar bants. So there you go, Amanda. I'll take that compliment.
Joe.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed watching it the other night. I thought it was very well done. It kind of reminded me of times of 2001, 2010, like where.
Yeah, you stole a little bit. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's what No, I agree with you. Absolutely.
Where again we didn't know with it, especially 2010, where this movie could have easily taken place in space, and I think it would have made more money. I think people are less interested in underwater adventures, and that's why it probably didn't do as well as the box office, regardless of like the high praise from critics. And I have a feeling it just didn't do good box office wise. I never saw it in the theaters because, again, I wasn't interested in it, even though I like James Cameron. But yeah, I would give it a 8.5 out of 10.
Ooh.
Wow. Any advance, Amanda?
Well, it kept my attention. I enjoyed it. That fear of drowning and suffocation just was a bit too much for me. And especially when they had to put that fluid into the helmet. Oh God, that just turned my stomach. That just made me feel a little bit queasy. But all in all, I've docked half a point because the end of the movie is a little bit saccharine for me. So I docked it half a point, so I'm giving it 6.5.
6.5.
6.5. Yeah.
See, I thought you genuinely liked that bit because when he appears at the thing, you're like, oh right, oh cool.
No.
Yeah, you were.
No, because you knew that was going to happen.
Okay.
And it just felt like it was a bit predictable.
Okay.
Are you from Manchester?
No.
Oh, okay. No, when you said it off instead of half,
Oh, I call it Narth. 6.5.
Okay.
It's amusing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I think this is kind of one of those films where I just watched on repeat, despite its length. It was always good to go back to. I loved the trailer. I loved the giddiness when I came out of the cinema the first time I saw it. I remember that feeling. It's so vivid that I'm kind of like, I can't go back and watch that again now because that was the last day that it was there. And I do remember feeling, I need to watch that again as soon as possible. I did. They did a special of it 3 years later at the multiplex rather than the Flea Pit Cinema. And then I saw it there and just thought, just blown away. This is just great. The characters, the story, again, the ambition, just everything with this. I don't like the effects of the craft coming up at the ending.
No.
It looks like, it was built out of carbon fiber and just spray painted by some graffiti artists. It doesn't look very
didn't
real.
represent what was under the water.
No,
me.
But then it couldn't because
why?
There's no budget for that. There's no budget to create something like that. It was already costing 47 million, which was a lot of money in those times. And you kind of like, I just, there's a thing that James Cameron does. This is one of the things that I left out of trivia, but it's interesting to put from my point of view. The genius of James Cameron, despite the fact of he's an arse on set and he's an arse to people and he doesn't have a lot of respect for people and whatever. I think Dom, you probably said that he's not. He probably sees actors in the same way that you two do. It's just you just got to function. You just got to carry out my vision because that's the thing that I need to do. But it's the little things. It's the techniques. I don't know if you notice, but when Coffee gets punched by the guy who makes it through, like flat out punched, there's a flash. James Cameron intentionally puts a flash, just a white screen, just very, very, very subtle, but it makes your eyes go like that, and so it makes the punch of the thing more visceral. He did that, he did that in Aliens, where every time they fire, it's white. You just see flashes of white rather than just the guns going off. In Terminator 2, Linda Hamilton hits the guard in the mental institution with a mop. Again, the white light, True Lies. Jamie Lee Curtis punches Arnie. It's little things like that make somebody like James Cameron. You might not like his films. I don't like Avatar. I don't particularly get on with Titanic, but I do remember it. I do remember both of them being epics and worthy of some respect, even though I might not like them. And I just think for Aliens, for a lesser extent, it goes for me: Aliens, The Abyss, then the Terminators. So I would put Abyss above Terminator 2.
Oh.
And so for that reason, and that reason alone, it's probably an entirely misty-eyed, rose-tinted, but perfectly justified 10 for me.
What?
10. I don't believe in 10s.
It's a
That's
10.
not a 10.
It's a 10 for me.
That is not a 10.
It is a 10.
Well, it's subjective.
Absolutely. So 7, 8.5, 6.5, 10. Okay. At least we're not wildly away. I mean,
I'll actually
65% to 100%. I think that's a 45%. No, hang on.
You're working it. Right, okay.
35%.
The calculator out.
I disagree with your score, Charlie, but I do admire that impassioned defence and advocacy of James Cameron. I think cinema's definitely a richer place for him, having been such an active director. And he, not all those films you mentioned are my cup of tea either, but I'm glad they exist, and I think they've brought entertainment to lots of people. So good on him.
And I agree. He's very good at attention of detail. He does his research. It's not like the directors of today who just don't give a damn. They're just given a budget. They're just given their actors. They're given a story, and then they do whatever they can. But he goes above and beyond. He thinks outside the box. He's definitely up there as one of the great directors of, I guess, this millennium. Right now, it's early. Or a previous one. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Even again, you might say what you want about Avatar. It's not that great, but it made so much money because I think a lot of it showed that he put so much work and effort into creating that world that people were just so attracted to it that they went to see it over and over again.
But 5 of them, Joe. I mean,
I don't want to see 5 of them.
Is the next one in space?
I don't know. I think eventually they go to Earth, but
okay.
But that's probably the 5th one,
Yeah.
But you haven't seen the second one, have you?
I haven't. No.
I mean, I think it's actually maybe a little better than the first one. I thought it.
Well,
was okay.
I'll watch it then. But based on this, based on going back and James Cameron, I might even go watch Titanic again because apart from the ending, I remember that it's care and attention. Again, you might not like it, but at least we can all respect it. Anyway,
hang on. How can you quibble with the ending of Titanic? I mean, spoiler alert: it's an iceberg. What did you expect?
No, the ending with the door,
no, and we got to see boobs too.
We did.
Look at you. Oh, it's all primeval on this show.
I did want to say one thing, that the whistleblower that worked at Area 51 was Bob Lazar. He's a genius. Google him. Look for YouTube videos of him, and then will believe.
Yeah, because we're not used to this thing, Joe. Our government's distracting us when they want us to look over there, when there's something really, really, really big happening over there. Yeah, thanks, Bob. Anyway, on that note, it's
controversial note. Here we go.
Wow.
Okay.
And it's Dom's turn.
All right. We'll see if the truth is out there. Hey.
3 films. I'm hoping for a particular one, but as I say, wait a minute, the one that's sellotaped to the no.
So easy to fix that.
It would be, but I'm not going to. Oh, and it is the film I wanted. It's Clue.
Hey, fantastic!
Clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I've never
so-
seen this, so
What
this
is
is why
it?
I'm looking forward to it.
so it's
Oh.
in England, in our country, Amanda. This is called Cluedo. You know, the board game,
Yeah.
which I realise is the most unpromising premise for a film you can imagine. But yeah, so the board game.
And
Cluedo,
almost stood with the lead piping in the study.
Yeah, exactly. Or Clue, as it's called in America. And it's unpromising start, but a wonderful film. So it's a personal favourite, as
Who's
opposed to
in
what
it?
I've just chosen. Oh, what's that guy called that was in
Tim Curry.
Tim
Yeah.
Curry.
It's got a big cast.
got
But
it,
you know,
yeah, it has a
roll
very
call's
big
roll
cast.
call's going to be interesting because we obviously won't be able to do Tim Curry after doing Legend so recently. But there's plenty of characters, but it's it's a funny film. I think.
What does Cluedo mean?
The board game,
Board
You know,
game.
why isn't it just Clue over there?
because we had some extra letters, maybe. I don't know. We left over
We
at
played
printers.
Scrabble and we were just like,
I mean, it's
Clue-
Clue-do. Does that even mean anything?
Cluedo.
Cluedo.
Cluedo? Doe
Doe.
as in D-O.
Deer, a female deer. Oh, to get that in. Yeah, go on.
Oh,
yeah.
That's got an E at the
that-
end. And this
No,
hasn't.
it's not doe as female deer.
Is it D-O-U-G-H?
No.
No, it's not D-O-double-G either.
And listeners, the spelling and the pronunciation is just one aspect of the pod that you can look forward to next week as we tackle this beast. Yeah, it's well, I'm looking forward to that. You two are going on holiday in the meantime, aren't you? You can watch that on your sun lounges, chuckling away.
Oh, yeah, because that's exactly what we're going to do.
In between dodging wildfires and evacuations.
I've just bought a new tablet and it's 15. It's 15-inch screen, so it's massive. We might just take it over. 15 inches, man. Yeah, that big enough for you?
Hmm.
Wink, wink. Right.
How do I put up with this?
Yeah.
Is there a version we need to watch? Because isn't there different
Oh, the different endings.
endings?
Well, yeah, let's not spoilers, but yeah,
No,
I think
but-
the theatrical release has alternate endings built in, to mirror the game of Cluedo with its potential different endings. So,
Is it
Because-
like a choose your own adventure book? Do you get
Well-
to click on certain things?
yes, except it's a film and you can't choose your own adventure. But otherwise, no, it's not. It's very, very cleverly done. It's creative. And if you have, there's one scene in particular, the singing telegram. I'll just tease you with that, which is I remember watching it for the first time and just absolutely laughing my head off. So, yeah,
Like the
It's
singing
my
bush in Three Amigos.
Well,
I'm-
that was their
I'm-
way of like trying to get you to come back and see it. You didn't know which ending you were going to get.
yeah.
So do you say, is the version that we're watching have all of the endings, or are we all going to watch different ones?
They should.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it has them like as part of the kind of post credits section. So
Okay, all right.
They
Oh,
probably
cool.
have one official ending, and then they have the alternate ones right after that.
I will go and find the version that was shown in the cinema at the time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there we go. Well, I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing it because I haven't watched it for that reason. But as soon as you picked that, I went, "That's the one." No. Forgive me, everyone else. That's the one I want to watch. So I'm glad it's been picked out.
yeah,
With
we'll make
rigging
them.
whatsoever.
We'll make amends for Weekend at Bernie's with the proper laugh out loud comedy.
She might take offence at that. She might sit there po-faced all the way through it and goes, "Well, Dom thinks this is funny, I'm not sure." And then she go, "Well, Dom likes Legend."
Look, I'm not that shallow.
I told so many people that we did Weekend at Bernie's, and they said, I loved that movie.
Ah.
I had the same. Yep.
I don't get it. Well,
Weekend at Bernie's too, everyone. Voodoo. Right. Anyway, on that note, yes, we are going on holiday, but
Voodoo and Cluedo.
we will be a week into the holiday by the time you get to listen to it, or a few days in anyway. So yeah, we'll be thinking about you as I go scuba diving and sailing and all the
Well,
other things.
our island of Kos that we're going to hasn't been ravaged by wildfires. It's been ravaged, not ravished. It's a completely different thing. Ravaged by diarrhea and vomiting bug.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but
We'll
it's
come
gone
back
now.
about 3 stone lighter.
It's gone now.
Every
Well, that's
cloud
good.
roll.
So Amanda, if Charlie ends up drowning, now you know how to revive him. after seeing this movie.
Oh, she doesn't need an excuse to smack me around the face.
Yeah, if she wants to revive him, that is. Yeah, perhaps. Could we carry on as a trio in his honor?
Well, life
Black
insurance wise, etc.
Yeah.
Charlie'd be better off if I was dead.
Oh, really?
I think mine's all right as well. Mine's okay.
Well, I hope you guys.
Mine's
I
not
hope I
bad.
see you in
Not
2
paying
weeks.
top trumps on who gets the biggest payout.
Yeah, Jesus, it's ended on a dark note.
If
isn't
you
it?
do, if I do die out there from some freak scuba diving accident, then please do Howard the Duck again.
Why is it I feel this episode's going to be broadcast at a coroner's court in about 2 weeks' time? And yeah,
8.5 times my salary, my death in
Okay, you beat me then.
services.
Right, I might start checking that regulator.
I'm not diving.
No,
as
I
I
know
said,
you're not. I know you're not.
Suffocation, fear of drowning. You
Yeah,
won't get me
murder.
under the sea.
If this is
Sorry.
being shown at court, hello.
Not guilty. Right, okay.
Oh, it'd be like our own little Cluedo, wouldn't it?
Every time you
yeah.
mention Cluedo, I think of Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. It's Colonel Mustard with the candlestick.
I think of Poodle from Star Wars.
Hippocrates.
Come on, let's
Best two out of
bring this home.
In Hippocrates, we're on the island, aren't we? Where his tree is. Hippocrates' tree. It's
I'll
Hippocrates.
send you a picture on the WhatsApp group.
There
Lucky
you go.
you. Lucky you, hey. Right. Fantastic. We're off on holiday. Thanks, listeners. We love you very much. And I'm going to say cheerio.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Toodle pip.
Bye.